Hello from Johnson City, Tennessee. I'm Mark Bryant with another edition of our preview series for Big South Basketball 25-26. Very happy to turn now to head coach Quinton Ferrell of the Presbyterian Blue Hose men's team. Coach, thank you for being here.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for having me.
Let's get right into it with recent success for PC. Coming off a second consecutive trip to the College Basketball Invitational, the CBI. So how do you build that momentum, what do you take from having postseason play for these guys into a new year?
Yeah, well, the ultimate goal is always to get to the big dance, to play in the NCAA tournament. And I think for our program, in terms of building it, it's been baby steps. And I think just having a chance to be in back-to-back postseasons at the CBI, I think our guys now, they're at a place where it's like, all right, we're tired of this now. Like, we want to get to the big dance, you know what I mean? And so I think it's created even more hunger, which allows our guys to, work a little bit harder in the offseason, be a little bit more focused, get that extra rep. And so, just hopefully the success we've had the past two seasons, it pays off in that regard.
What are you and the staff focusing on in practices and emphasizing going into the new season?
Yeah, for me, it always starts with defense and rebounding. I'm old school. I think in any sport, defense wins championships. So I feel like the last couple of seasons, we've gotten off to very great starts, in terms of early season success and winning games. And so we obviously want to repeat that, you know what I mean? And I think it starts on the defensive end. If we can be stingy, defense leads to offense, and, and build, everything goes from there. So I think for us, it's, the defensive end, that's our focus right now.
In a landscape where entire teams are turning over, you have three notable players returning, which is good news for you: Jonah Pierce, Jalen Peterson, and Iverson King. What are some of their strengths and characteristics that stand out, and also what are you expecting from that group this year?
I would be remiss if I didn't add Carl Parrish III, because he's actually going to be my point guard this year. Okay. His first 2 years, he played off the ball and had to kind of wait his turn a little bit because he played behind two fifth-year seniors. Mm-hmm. But one of my more talented players, even when he was a freshman, and definitely last year. And so he'll finally get a chance to take the reins. And we've had, really good success with our perimeter players. And so I feel like he's in line to have a breakout year for us. But the other three guys for sure are, standout guys that we're dependent on a lot. And I'll start with Jonah Pierce, obviously preseason All Big South. He was rolling when he went down in the 8th game, last season for us. Started the season making his first 20 attempts from the field. And so, he gives us a presence inside, a guy that we can throw the ball to in the half court, which is obviously, tougher to score against people in the half court. So to have a big guy that can score with his back to the basket, he protects the rim, great defender, great passer as well. So, he'll be a guy that's kind of leading us. And, as a fifth-year senior, Jalen Peterson, we always talk about this on our campus and in our building. We want him to be the defensive player of the year. That's something he's bought into. One of the more impactful defenders in the league, if you go and look at any of the numbers. His ability to block shots and rebound. He set PC's, single season block record last year in his redshirt sophomore year. So he'll obliterate, that record by the time he leaves college. But he's a guy that we feel like kind of makes us different because of his versatility. He can switch on to perimeter players and guard point guards, and then he can guard people's centers. So we're expecting a lot from him this year. He'll get to play the 4, which is his natural position now that Jonah's back healthy, because he started last year at the 4 for us, and then he moved to the 5 when Jonah got hurt. And then Iverson King, all freshman team member, he played out of position due to Jonah's injury as well too. He played more power forward. He'll play his natural position of small forward this year a lot more, which should help us defensively, help us from a rebounding standpoint, make us bigger. And he's a guy that's worked really hard on his three-point shooting, and he'll be a guy that we're going to look to score for us as well.
Who are some of the significant incoming transfers and newcomers that are going to be big contributors this year?
Yeah, so we always definitely want to sign high school kids at PC and develop guys, but we do have 2 really good transfers this year that came to us. Josh Pickett played at the University of Denver as a freshman. He started about 18 to 20 games last year, averaged almost 6 points a game. Can play 1 through 3, so he'll play a lot on the wing for us a lot. And then Eric Taylor's a point guard that played at Sam Houston State in Conference USA. Really good point guard, can score, can shoot threes from deep, get to the basket, can play make. So both of those guys will have a big chance of impacting our team at a high level this season.
Well, our viewers know, and you know, what it's like to go through a conference schedule, the grind of that every year. But tell everybody what they should be looking forward to for the non-conference schedule for PC. I believe you got a trip to California lined up?
No, we do. The players are definitely excited about that one. But, you know, we start off at home against Navy, and that's one of, you know, 3 games to start the year at home right away. So to start off 3 straight home games is very exciting for us. We added games against Georgia State this year, so we go to Atlanta to play those guys. Return trip to Columbia against South Carolina, who we played really tough last year at South Carolina. And then you mentioned we go out to California for about 8 or 9 days, Sacramento State, Cal, and UCLA. So that trip really for me, even though it's not consecutive, you know, back-to-back days, but playing 3 road games for us is, you know, we try to always simulate tournament play with our MTEs where we're on the road. It'll be neutral, obviously, court here in Johnson City when we get to the Big South tournament. But nevertheless, just being on the road, 3 straight road games, us against the world mentality, and finding a way to have success. So that's always good prep for me for like conference tournament. Got a big game against Wofford at Wofford, which is obviously a great program, you know, out of the SoCon. We have Morehead State coming to Quinton, so that'll be a good one, OBC opponent. And then, you know, we got a return trip to Manhattan before Christmas, so we'll go to New York and play Manhattan, and that'll be another really good, you know, like opponent game for us.
California, New York, you guys, mileage this year. Coach, thank you so much. We wish you and everyone with the Blue Hose the best of luck this year, and we do appreciate your time. And we thank all of you for watching our preview series for Big South Basketball 25-26.